What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. So, I saw a video, okay? And basically, the video was labeled something to the effect of, the WBC babies, Vasily Lomachenko, Wilder, not so much. And it's one of these videos where it was typical, it was what I expected, and there was another video where someone made a mention of a similar thing within the video. And me and that person had a little dialogue back and forth, no arguing back and forth, but just a little conversation. And the person says to me, I think they misunderstood my stance. Basically, they were saying, oh, see, they're babying Lomachenko, and boxing ego. It's his video that said said Lomachenko's being babied by the WBC, but not Wilder. Okay. But this particular person, this was on another channel, when he brought that up and said, yeah, boxing ego even said that how they're babying Lomachenko, and Lomachenko, he ain't shit, he's overrated. Wilder's a way better fighter than Lomachenko, blah, blah, blah. And I just told the person, I said, no, you misunderstand what I'm saying. Okay, my comment was, they're two grown-ass men. And regardless to what Mauricio Suleiman and the WBC or whoever, whoever may, you guys feel like they're babying them, they don't need that shit. What they need to do is pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and go, move on to the next fight. Okay, first off, when the guy made that comment, when I responded, his response was like, yeah, but you see what they doing, man. They making this a race war. And I'm like, they who? They who? Who's making... I'm like, bro, we just watched two guys go in there and fight. One guy was the better fighter, okay? What race war? First off, let me show you how as backwards that sounds. Okay, Lopez is Latino. Mauricio Suleiman is Latino. Vasily Lomachenko is what, from the Ukraine or whatever? He's not Latino. So what race war? Oh, you talking about the fact that Deontay Wilders' name was brought up by a fan channel, and somehow they are making it a race war. They who? Not the fan channel, but somehow the WBC is making a race war. And I asked him, what the hell does Deontay Wilder have to do with what happened with Lomachenko and Lopez? You guys are the ones bringing up Wilder. No, Wilder's a fucking heavyweight. He has nothing to do with what happened between Lopez and what happened between Lomachenko. So please tell me and make sense how they, whoever they are making this a race war. So he starts talking about because of the favoritism. And I'm like, all right, this is like redundant. And it's definitely not necessary to even go into, because we already know Wilder's resume. We understand the situation, the mandatory that he faced. And I mean, the fact that we can go through his whole career. And basically, we're not even going to take that route anymore. Okay? And this is part of where I had to let him know. See, this is why, one of the reasons Wilder gets so much, flack from people, because you fan channels keep bringing his name up every time something happens. Somehow, some way, Wilder's name gets brought into it in a way of pity. So what you're basically saying is Mauricio Suleiman does the same thing, or the WBC, they're doing the same thing towards Lomachenko being their franchise champion as you guys do to Wilder, by making excuses and babying him. Because basically, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Now, let's say Mauricio Suleiman said something to the effect of, Lomachenko has nothing to worry about, hold his head down about, Maybe they said some encouraging words to him in his loss or whatever, and they translate that into him being baby. I don't know. But what I will say about Lomachenko, now Lomachenko says he was robbed, right? He won the fight. Okay. There's been several times when a fighter said they won the fight where I felt like, I don't know what fight you was fantasizing about in your head while you were in that ring, but you didn't win that fight. I mean, we saw Adrian Broner get his ass kicked by Manny Pacquiao. I beat that boy. I beat that boy. Really? He said the same thing about Mikey Garcia when he danced all night long. Not that I'm against a person boxing and using their movement, but he said Mikey Garcia wanted to run, he didn't want to stand and fight, and the only person that was fighting on the back foot the whole night was Adrian Broner. I mean, we can go down the line. We can go down. I mean, come on, man. We've seen many fights where somebody claimed I won that fight, and we know that that was bullshit. We've seen Bobby Ches get the snot beat out of him by Evander Holyfield. He quit and pretend that Holyfield has some substance on his glove that was burning his eyes. The referee even nothing, but somehow Bobby Chen's eyes are just burning. I mean, there's always some kind of excuses in a fight as to why they lost, other than he was the better man. Lomachenko, I mean, I can't look. I don't see how he think he won that fight, but if he feel like he won the fight, okay. What came back to bite Lomachenko in his ass? Now, even though he may speak as a gentleman, soft-spoken, not known for trash talking, right? Well, Lomachenko, basically, they did it to themselves, because not only did he lose the fight, and I feel like he doesn't have anything to have his head held down for. Why? You just lost to a better fighter. I mean, I'm sure, of course, the disappointment of losing is there, but it was referred to as an embarrassing loss. What was embarrassing about it? And they actually, I watched the video where guys are sitting there talking about how everybody's talking about how Wilder lost and this and that, but look how they baby Lomachenko. Well, okay, first let's look at something, okay? And before I get to that, let me finish my point. They were so confident that they were going to beat Lopez that they didn't even put a rematch clause in there. I don't see a reason for a rematch because the fight there was nothing close about that fight. I mean, I can understand a rematch when a fight was that close, or if there was an actual robbery where like, let's look at Rolly Ramirez versus Jackson Martinez. That was a robbery to me. And I feel like, not because I'm interested so much in rematches, because I'm really not. It depends on the situation. I feel like Jackson Martinez is really owed a rematch. Now, Riley doesn't have to give it to him, but he said he would. And, I spoke about that in the video. But this fight wasn't even close. Like I said, I gave the first 7 rounds clearly gave them to Lopez. 8, 9, and 10 was Lomachenko's best rounds. Not that he won the rounds. I don't know how the judges scored those. Those rounds were close. Those were close rounds. I don't know if they gave him 8, 9, and 10. But they were his best rounds. And judges usually, which I don't agree with, they will take your best rounds and they will give you the round because it was your best round. But if you still lost the round, I don't see it. I mean, just giving that's not winning the fight, okay? I don't know how those rounds were scored. 11 and 12, they were close rounds too, but I felt like Lopez won the 11th round. And basically, I felt like, look, he had the fight in the bag. He won. His father told him to come out and just box, and I'm like, I agree with Lopez. Like, nah, he need to keep doing what he's doing, because there is a strong possibility that the favorite to win the fight may end up getting the decision based on, this is the 12th round, and I can already hear the commentators. You're fighting for the undisputed. You got to go out there and get it. You can't just sit back on, because you think you got a lead, and you already know controversial decisions have been made. Now, Lopez, as far as I'm concerned, won that fight. I agree with the unanimous decision. He won that fight clearly. Lomachenko, on the other hand, when people say he should have been doing this and that, yeah, it's always he should have. But what you guys always fail to realize, the reason that these guys don't do what you're saying they should is because they can't. The opponent is not letting them. Okay, they're not letting them. As far as the guys comparing Wilder's fight with Fury versus Lomachenko and Lopez, first off, that's a ridiculously stupid comparison. Okay? First off, Wilder was getting his ass kicked. Okay? He was getting his ass kicked. He lost every fucking round. Lomachenko, okay, he got beat. He got outboxed clearly. He didn't take a beating. You understand? Like, he not one time did he look like he was about to get knocked out. He got rocked. Don't get me wrong. Lopez hurt him a couple of times where he got his attention and he rocked him a couple of times. But Lomachenko was trying. He was trying. At times he was pressing forward, trying to get his man out of there. He was trying. He was getting everything he was doing. Lopez was nullifying it. Wilder had no defense, no offense. He was basically just waiting to see what Fury was going to do, trying to survive. He was in survival mode from the third round on. He had nothing. Not one time did Lopez, was he in trouble where the ref was going to throw the towel in, or his corner man was going to throw the towel in. Not one time. Wilder got dropped. Lomachenko didn't get dropped. And this is not about defending Lomachenko. And it's not about shitting on Wilder. This is about bringing up the logic and the comparisons. How in the hell can you even compare those two fights? They were not even similar. And from round 1 to round 12, Lomachenko, he was trying to fight, trying to win, trying to do the things he normally do, and he just couldn't do it. And maybe inside he got to the point where he felt like discouraged because what he was trying to do wasn't working. So maybe that could be the case as well. But it wasn't the type of thing where like he was just getting beat up and had no answers for nothing. No, he was getting some shots in too. He was landing some shots. He was putting up a fight. It just wasn't a good enough effort. Wilder didn't even put up a fucking fight. Wilder was in survival mode. So I don't even understand this nonsense about an embarrassing loss. What was embarrassing about the loss? He got beat. Now, what's embarrassing to me is him saying, I won the fight. Okay, because like, it makes you look delusional, bro. There's no way in hell Lomachenko was even close to winning that fight. But as far as Mauricio Sulaiman favoring him or babying him, whoa, he made him the franchise fucking champion. The videos I made of speaking about the franchise champion, I said I don't think much of that idea, and it's nothing but favoritism. Because I don't see what the hell has any franchise champion brought to the sport. You know, what have they added to the sport that was significant by being the franchise champion? But to say that it was an embarrassing loss, I mean, to each his own. I don't see, I mean, it was a loss. It was a good fight. First of all, it was a good fight. It was a good fight, but he clearly lost. Was Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 2 a good fight, or was it a one-sided massacre of an ass kicking? So I don't even see what the material is where they can even compare those two fights. No, this is just fanboys that want to make excuses for the fact they're still hurting at the fact that Deontay Wilder lost, and the fact that he's probably never going to avenge that loss. And even if he does try to avenge the loss, there's no guarantee that he's going to win. Now all this talk about the super cruiserweight division, where a lot of people are saying when they are learning the weight classes and they're like, damn, Deontay could fight as a super cruiserweight. And then they'll make excuses and say you got to give Deontay credit because he's not a real heavyweight, man. He's not a natural heavyweight. But, you know, he's fighting these big guys. And like I said, Evander Holyfield did it. Larry Holmes did it. Muhammad Ali did it. Let's not act like he's the only person that was in that situation. And neither one of those guys are 6'7". When you 6'7", Okay, Deontay has a wide back. Deontay, like I said, he's scrawny from the waist down. He even up his upper body, he gets toned and ripped, but he's a skinny guy. But he's 6'7". He can carry more weight. He need to build his fucking legs up. He definitely need to. There's no such thing. It's just like, look, in bodybuilding, okay? You don't go on a fucking stage from the waist up and you're solid, and from the waist down you got fucking chicken legs. Like, no. Don't give me that shit about he can't carry the weight. No. You have to train your body properly. If you can't fucking handle a fucking couple of pounds up in your upper body and you're that fucking fragile, then you're in the wrong sport, because you're on your legs all night in wrestling, in boxing. You're on your legs all night. You got guys trying to wrestle you around and muscle you back and all of that. And as a fighter, you should understand that all comes with the territory. So all these excuses that people are making, the crazy thing is for someone to even say that they're making excuses for Lomachenko or for any other fighter, when you guys sat here and made up poison water excuses, you guys sat up here and made a dent in the skull excuses, you guys sat up here and made all this boar meat being eaten and threats coming to this guy for, if he speaks up and testify and all this other bullshit, all these excuses that you guys made, but yet they're saying that the WBC is making excuses for Lomachenko. See, my thing is, let's find another excuse to make a video about Deontay Wilder, because somehow we're talking about two fucking lightweights, but somehow Deontay Wilder names get brought in. It's like, they did the same shit with Floyd Mayweather. They hated Floyd so much that two heavyweights could fight. Somehow Floyd names comes into play. To this very day, Floyd name comes into play. Okay? To this very day. Two fighters are going to fight. Floyd is retired, only doing exhibitions, but somehow Floyd name comes into play. The only difference with Deontay Wilder's situation is it's people that's trying to still make excuses for the loss in the second fight. And mentally it's fucking them up. Why? Because they know no matter what they say, that loss is not going away. They're embarrassed just like he is. They did all this talking and they realized what Ari said was true. He's not going to address this shit. He's going to move on from this, and y'all did all this bullshit in vain. And that's pretty much how it goes. So to consider this an embarrassing loss, I don't see how it was embarrassing. The guy went in there and fought and tried. He just got outboxed. He got beat. Clearly got beat. And, he's saying he won, but he's not saying, well, my legs were weak. Or I think somebody poisoned my water. Or I think the guy had loaded gloves. I think he had a metal object in his glove. Oh, yeah, my robe was too heavy, my leg, yeah. No. He's saying he think he won the fight. He's saying he came on strong in the end. And yeah, from the 8th round to the 12th round, he tried to push harder. I don't think he did enough in the 11th round. The 12th round, I'm not sure. The rounds, when the rounds are scored close, you don't always know what the judges are looking at. That's why I'm saying I clearly scored the first 7 for Lopez. I scored the 11th round for him. And what I'm saying, clear rounds. So 8, 9, and 10, I don't know how it was scored. 12, I don't know how it was scored. In my opinion. So I don't know how those rounds were scored, but in my opinion, I gave those rounds clearly to Lopez. So that's 8 clear rounds out of a 12-round fight. At the end of the day, we saw, like Oscar De La Hoya when he fought Trinidad. I gave him the first 8 rounds. Clear. And from the 9th to the 12th, Oscar just went into dance, and stay away. Why the hell he did it that way, I don't know. Usually fighters do that in like the last round or something, but I still feel like, and I wanted Trinidad to win. But I don't think Trinidad won that fight. I felt like they robbed Oscar. Even though I wanted Trinidad to win that fight. I felt like Trinidad didn't win. There's no way he won that fight. And even in those 4 rounds that that Oscar decided to get on his toes and move, it's not like Trinidad was punishing Oscar like he was putting a beating on him for 4 straight rounds. No. I don't see how he did enough to win. But so we've seen that happen. And that's one of the things why when I watched this fight with Loma and Lopez, and I saw he was dominating with the jab, keeping it long, you know, making them miss, making them pay. He was dominating with the long shots, with the short punches. He was taking the angles away, just simply pivoting and keeping Loma from, you know, confusing him and leaping in with those punches from weird angles. He did everything he was supposed to do. But to say that this fight was an embarrassing loss for Lomachenko, well, first off, for the record, I think Lomachenko is a solid fighter. I think Lopez is a solid fighter. But again, I'm not a fan of anybody's. I just respect and appreciate what I see fighters do, other fighters do. And that's as far as it goes. So no, this is not about, oh, let's make excuses for Lomachenko. No. What I'm saying, and regardless, even for people to say the WBC is babying him, let me clarify something for people who may not have seen past videos. So when I talked about Deontay's resume, we can start from the fact that when he won the championship and they talked about him fighting Klitschko, and Shelly Finkel stood in that middle of that ring for everybody to hear him say, okay, for the boxing world to hear, oh, you know, Deontay's still a baby. He just won the championship. We're not going to rush him into a fight with Klitschko. You know, he's a veteran, a seasoned fighter. That came from Shelly Finkel's mouth. Deontay Wilder has always said he's his own boss, right? And he criticized Anthony Joshua, saying that if AJ really wanted that fight, AJ could make that fight happen, right? Eddie Hearn worked for him, not the other way around. So why did we never get Klitschko versus Wilder? Why did Deontay Wilder never unify the division? He kept talking about this, the same guy, right? That was saying one face, one champion, one name. Speak it, believe it, receive it, right? This is the same guy that kept saying, I will unify the division. I will become undisputed heavyweight champion. This is the same guy who said, I'm not fighting AJ for no amount of money. Don't even think about it because it's not going to happen. This is the same guy that as soon as Ruiz beat AJ, bam, congratulations, boom, unification, right? Keep it in the PBC house. Keep it in the stable. This is the same guy, right? This is the same guy that had only 2 mandatories his whole career, and they were guys like Dominic Brazil. And who? A guy that he won the title from that did nothing, Bermane Stavern. So if you want to talk about favoritism, what do you call that? Look at the same heavyweight champion of the world that was fighting guys that wasn't even ranked. And all you got to do is look up all Deontay Wilder title defenses. Okay? Got Deontay Wilder's opponents' rankings as a world champion. And you see he was fighting guys that wasn't even in the top 15, top 20. He was fighting guys that we didn't even, I mean, he was fighting. So don't come talking that bullshit. Don't give me that bullshit about another fighter being baby when he was clearly baby. Clearly. And you're supposed to guide your fighter, not throw him into the fire. But when AJ won the championship, everybody was talking about how you got to go forward. You can't go backwards. You got to go forward. And you know the difference in the level of class in people? You know what AJ said when he beat Charles Martin? He said it's an accomplishment, and I'm proud of it. And I became the IBF champion, right? But you know what he said? The big win was against Klitschko. So he's letting you know, I'm not knocking Charles Martin as a fighter, but beating Klitschko, that was my reckoning right there. That was my day of reckoning right there. So he knows. Now, there's other guys that can beat Charles Martin as well. Charles Martin was the champion, and that win counts. You have to count it, okay? But at the same time, AJ's always been humble. He never shoots his opponents down. Well, when you have guys that's talking about AJ didn't fight anybody, and oh, AJ's a paper champion, he's been guided, and it's like, well, okay, look at your boy resume first before you start talking delusional and stupid, because basically this is what these guys are doing. So again, here it is where people find another reason, another excuse, should I say, to talk about Deontay Wilder when we're talking about Lomachenko versus Lopez, which should have been the focus. But no, somehow we got to bring Deontay Wilder into a conversation that has nothing to do with his weight class, nothing to do with a fight, nothing. But just to make the point, okay, well, if you really truly feel that he's been that Lomachenko is being baby, First off, and let's just say that it's true. Let's say that it's true. Does Lomachenko need that? And does it change the outcome of anything? Does Deontay Wilder need that? Does it change the outcome of anything? No. So the point is what? Oh, they're babying Lomachenko, but not Wilder. At the end of the fucking day, Lomachenko is already saying he feel like he won the fight. Deontay Wilder said that wasn't me in there. I was like a zombie in there. So Lomachenko is saying, I think I won. Deontay Wilder's like, I don't know who that guy was. But I don't see Fury as the champion. And you guys support that. Y'all support that thing, that y'all support that? Wait, so you got the brakes beat off of you, but you don't recognize that guy's the champion because you wasn't yourself that night. That's what you're saying. A guy that just got beat saying, I won the fight. I came on strong in the later rounds and I won the fight. Nah, Loma. Let's be realistic. You got your ass kicked. Lopez beat you. He outboxed you. You put up a good fight. You did the best you could do. Okay? The night that Fury and Wilder fought, Wilder did the best he could do that night. Guess what, though? The excuses that the fanboys make, even the excuse that the fighter will make, it doesn't change the outcome of what happened. So for all of this talk about babying someone, you guys are such hypocrites. I don't even know how y'all can look yourselves in the mirror. You're sitting here making excuses about, look, everybody that thought Lopez was going to lose all had the same dose of reality. Smacked them right in the face and say, this 23-year-old guy, this fighter, is for real. Now you all know. Because it took this fight for you guys it took this fight for you guys to finally see Lopez for who he is as a fighter. Okay. Haters are going to look for the next person that they want to see beat him. Every fighter has people that see it, that look at them that way. Do y'all know my stance on Deontay Wilder? My stance on Deontay Wilder is, I always said, and I'll say it again, if he had some skills to go with that power, he would be far more dangerous than what he is. Because right now he's a one-trick pony. But at the same time, when you fight weak opposition, you can do that. Okay, the right hand is there, but we seen him land it twice on Fury in the second fight in the first 2 rounds, and nothing happened. And when the right hand failed him, he had no other answers, right? If Deontay Wilder, beats any other heavyweight. Now, AJ is the guy that I look at and say, that's the heavyweight that I really, push for. If Deontay Wilder was to knock AJ out, so be it. The better man won that night. What am I going to do? I don't hate AJ. I don't hate Wilder. I don't hate Fury. I don't hate any of these guys. I don't know them personally to say I like them. I don't know them. AJ just has a personality that he's a sportsman. He carries himself with a lot of class and dignity. And I respect that. And he doesn't need the shit talk to win a fight. It's either you're going to win or you're going to lose. We've seen many times a boxer is highly skilled, but he loses to a guy because that guy was just in better condition, or that guy was tougher than he was, physically could take more damage, or he couldn't take the pressure or whatever. We've seen guys we've seen so many things happen. We've seen guys that can brawl, that can punch, but they had no conditioning, or they just fought a superior boxer. We've seen 2 boxers go at it, and it's a chess match. You don't know what you're going to get come fight night. But just to put everything in its proper perspective, okay? What happened with Fury and Wilder has absolutely nothing to do with what happened with Lomachenko and Lopez in any aspect. And the comparison of saying how people shot down, they're looking at the treatment of Wilder, saying like how he lost the fight and then they didn't investigate and all this other shit about how Al Heyman turned his back on him. And, first of all, just to quote Deontay Wilder, if Deontay Wilder really wanted that fight with Fury, first off, all we hearing is Shelly Finkel talking about what Deontay wants. His sparring partner's talking about what he wants and what he's going to do. Everybody but Deontay. You think Deontay Wilder wasn't aware of the expiration date? And it was his side that kept pushing the fight back. So maybe this whole thing was because he knows he's going to come into this super cruiserweight division. And all of a sudden, yeah, I'm not really a heavyweight. But who knows? We'll see. Maybe that's the reason why he's been so quiet. I've been thinking about this whole thing for a minute now. Ever since Tony Bellew, we heard that he was coming up with this new cruiserweight, super cruiserweight division. And we didn't have all the details of what the actual weight class would be. But think about it. That could be it too. And again, this is not even about a shot at Lomachenko. It's not about a shot at Wilder or any other fighter. It's about the fanboys coming up with these stupid excuses. These stupid asinine excuses. Nobody needs babying other than a baby. You guys are the motherfucker. I mean, it's so funny to me how people are such hypocrites. You can go back. There's probably over 1,000 videos of people talking about how Deontay was robbed and cheated and mistreated and yada, 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 and the guy cheated and there's no investigation. And you guys are talking about babying a fighter. Regardless of what Mauricio Suleiman or whoever may have said or what you guys feel like they're trying to do, you guys have put Deontay Wilder, and he's allowed himself to be put into a box. To where now all these excuses that was made against Wilder, about Wilder, what his next move is going to be, who he's going to fight, and it's probably going to be a lesser fighter. It may not even be at heavyweight. He may wait and play this whole cruiserweight division thing, super cruiserweight division. He may be people. There's people that saying he's probably going to retire. Who knows? I just know that regardless to what his actions are, what he chooses to do, people are going to make excuses. If Anthony Joshua right now decided he was going to come down and make the super cruiserweight division, I guarantee you, he don't have to say anything about. All he have to do is just say, I just feel like it's another accomplishment. I want to see, test the waters at super cruiserweight. Somehow you guys will start saying that's bullshit. The only reason he wants to go down to super cruiserweight is because he's scared to fight. And he knows at some point he's gonna have to fight Deontay Wilder, and he don't want no smoke with Wilder. And somehow you guys will find a way to glorify Deontay Wilder and shoot down another fighter. At the same time, you guys are sitting here focusing on Lomachenko versus Wilder in terms of the treatment. You guys couldn't think of shit else to make for a video, so let's just find another excuse to mention Deontay Wilder. And this is what you guys always do. And like I said before, the fanboys, oh man, these guys always talking about Wilder. They always, yeah, right, because your fanboy channels keep making excuses for Wilder. So we're here to say, no, that's not what happened. Let's look at the truth. And I know y'all hate that. I know y'all hate it. You know why y'all hate it? Because when the truth comes out and a fighter you've been supporting and making excuses for, all of a sudden things happen that it turns out that this guy couldn't beat that guy, or this guy wasn't as good as you thought he was. And especially when people make claims and those claims come true, you can't just suck it up and say, damn, you know what, you was right. It's like I told people, even like when Lopez beat Lomachenko. No. Nobody's bashing you because you thought that Loma was going to win. My reason for feeling like I felt like watching Lopez, he had everything he needed to beat, that he could beat Lomachenko. And that was last year, not even 2020. 2019, I was saying this guy could beat Lomachenko. And people, come on, Aries, man. You know boxing, man. Come on, man. He going to beat Loma. You think he can beat Loma? I'm like, yeah, I think he can beat Loma. And I'm like, time will tell. We'll see. But I think he can beat Loma. And I even bet. I even made a little bet. And I won that bet. Quite naturally. You saw what happened. But people there's like, no. I don't need that. I told you he's going to win. I don't need to do all that. I just saw something in him that other people overlooked. And I think that people felt like, yo, he's not going to beat Lomachenko. I don't care how good he is. He ain't going to beat Lomachenko. And like I said, it's probably because of the way Lomachenko looked against everybody else. And when he beat Rigondeaux, people just lost their shit. Like, yo, he beat Rigondeaux. But like I said, Rigondeaux is good from the outside in giving movement and angles. It wasn't just the fact he's a smaller guy than Lomachenko. If you look at it, Rigondeaux is not a good inside fighter. He doesn't have answers on the inside. He can slip and move and try to, but he doesn't have answers. He doesn't make you miss, make you pay. He doesn't punish you on the inside. Lomachenko was just too advanced. He was a better fighter than Rigondeaux overall, plain and simple. So I guess because Lopez didn't have that name, his profile wasn't raised yet. People thought, nah, he's a good fighter, but man, he's only 23 years old. Kid ain't ready. Funny thing is this, right? You guys want to talk about favoritism? Well, how old was Floyd Mayweather when he beat Canelo Alvarez? He's 35, right? How old was Canelo? 22, 23? 23, right? Okay. What did everybody say? They said Canelo Alvarez was too young. Floyd handpicked him because he was too young. What the fuck? We can rewind that whole situation, and people said Floyd was ducking Canelo. And he went up and fought Canelo at his weight. Okay? Lopez is 23. Guess how old Lomachenko is? 32. If he had won that fight, I'm willing to guarantee you, people, nobody would have said, yo, man, he was too young. Lomachenko handpicked him because he was too young. And Lomachenko, first off, look, Lopez has how many fights? 20-something fights? How many fights did Canelo have when he fought Floyd? 40 or more. 40, 41 fights. Yeah, 40, put it like 40 fights. 300 plus amateur fights. Huh? So why was Lomachenko, why was Lopez not too young for Lomachenko, but why was Canelo was too young for Floyd? And look at both careers. By far, Canelo has been a superstar far longer than Lopez. Lopez just got his spot as a super, as after beating Lomachenko. Okay? As a superstar, if you want to say. So look at Canelo's career. Look how his career blossomed. And now Canelo is starting to get flack about fighting weak opposition. But from certain people that really see certain things. I'm not going to dig into all of that. But you see what I mean about how people make excuses for certain fighters. Floyd is older than Lomachenko by 3 years. But Canelo and Lopez was the same age. Now, if Canelo would have won, nobody would have said it's because Floyd was older. They would have just said he's better than Floyd. Floyd finally came up against somebody. They would have made excuses because they hated Floyd. So we don't need excuses. Focus on the business at hand. And this is what people that you come on the channel, you need to understand. We're not talking about, what I'm seeing, people are so into the theatrics and all the drama. And they make all these excuses to try to get followers. They try to emotionally attach you and then reel you in by giving you all this bullshit. And a lot of fighters a lot of these people are casual boxing fans. They don't really know what's going on unless they're watching boxing channels. And I realize that. But you guys are being baited into bullshit. No, it wasn't no fucking embarrassing loss for Lomachenko. He just lost. The excuse, okay, that's what becomes embarrassing. The excuses. But make no mistake about it, man. It was a good, solid fight. The better man won. It's as simple as that. Look, never fall in love with lies. And remember, the truth brings hate out of people. And that's all I'm going to say on this video. Catch y'all on the next one.